So you're a Boston guy, right?
Yeah.
Like, what? How old were you when you went from Boston to Los Angeles or New York?
Oh, I moved. I went to college from Boston at UMass Amherst, which is just far enough away from Boston, and I was there till 90. I graduated in like 94, and then I moved to New York. I was in New York for 12 or 13 years, and then I moved here 8 years ago.
Graduated
and
college.
if you do that math, it'll mostly add up, like give or take 1 or 2 years.
I always get. I like Boston. Like Boston's another place like Miami where people from Boston that got out of Boston will warn you about Boston.
Yeah, I get it.
I was terrified. I think out of all the Harmontown tour shows, I was the most terrified to go to Somerville.
Dude, Somerville's
because I was really because people really laid it on thick. They're like, this is the blue collar working class, and there's like going.
Somerville's the Silver Lake of Boston.
Yeah, and I went in terrified, but I had the time of my life, and I every person from Boston that I've ever met, I don't know. I think
Boston has a great Ghost. What's above this place?
Just like a
family of
storage
ghosts.
attic.
Is this place haunted?
It's Professor Meltdown's
I gotta go.
love chamber.
Sorry. There's a great music scene in Boston, and a great. There's a lot of college kids, so it is a cool, like for lack of a better term, that like there's a lot of nerds that there's not just townies getting out of a Bruins game ready to punch you in the face.
But I will say, even those guys, like discounting the fact that yes, there's Boston Armenians, there's but also like that guy who's like wicked retarded guy with the baseball cap and he's a human bobblehead, and he's like not really that bad, like because I'm from Milwaukee, like there's an overlap
all
there.
Blue collar, like Chicago is similar, New York is similar, Boston's similar. It's all blue collar sports fans at its core, and that's the Yoop guy.
Yeah, that's the Yoop guy.
Where is he?
That's Dave Kline. Do you want to meet Dave Kline?
Yeah, man.
Dave Kline, come up and meet Rob Cordry.
Oh, that's great. I just realized we got to put a pin in Boston for a minute. I got to meet all my Harmontown friends.
Yeah.
There's Anatoly.
Yeah.
Where's he? He's not here. Is that his seat?
He's not been here lately.
Hey, Dave Kline.
Rob Cordry.
Hey, man.
Oh, it's a pleasure.
Oh, it's such a pleasure to meet you.
Yeah.
You know, when you listen to the podcast backwards, you disappear at one point.
It was very fair.
There's no yups.
It comes in as pure.
Yeah, and it's it was disappointing to me. I felt like I lost a friend.
No, I understand that.
Dave Kline gave me a speech one night where I get. Well, it's California, so I can say we were getting high outside the drawing room, and like, sorry, Rob's parents. It's
medicinal.
I have anxiety and sleep deprivation.
We all have prescriptions.
A touch of
we all have
glaucoma.
trouble sleeping.
I'm a doctor.
He wasn't high at the wedding.
I'm a doctor.
What's that?
You weren't high at the wedding, right?
No, I wasn't high at your wedding.
Oh my God.
I was at your birthday, though.
Yeah?
I had a great time. Rob Schrab throws a fucking hell of a birthday.
I do.
Yep.
Oh, there's a little. You use little baby yups. Just in.
Yeah, he does.
Yep.
He's
Like,
singing under his breath at times.
Like at Starbucks, I go, Dave Kline. Yep.
It actually is helpful in kind of.
Oh wait, no, you have a problem.
That's a belch. Yeah,
it's kind of a hiccup thing, but it keeps people on point. It makes me on point. Like, I'm gonna need a coffee. Yep. And I stay kind of on track with the coffee and don't let my mind wander.
If you
reset.
turn it into high gear, you'll be like they don't still have those Sesame Street aliens that would go yep. Remember those?
The guys
Those
that
are
lived
my
in a
favorites.
planter.
Did you? Do they still have those? Everything got turned
I
into
don't
fucking
think so.
Elmo. Elmo just took over. But they had these things that would go yep. And they were like aliens, and they were like weird.
What were
puppets.
we learning?
How to read? I hope.
Being positive. Being positive.
My grandfather was a botanist, and so I guess we were starting to learn a little bit about life plants and
I don't think so. I don't think we were
By the way,
anything to do with that.
super important point about Sesame Street. I mean, it was a controversial show, but it was a controversial show when they were pitching it because their pitch was, let's stop pretending that kids aren't growing up in a certain way. Let's cater to the short attention span. You know how it's all like this episode of Sesame Street is brought to you by the letter T.
Yeah.
It's brought to you by the letter S. The idea was that kids were being raised, you and I were being raised by televisions, and that we trusted and listened to commercials and things like that. And the Children's Television Workshop was saying, why don't we do this? Why don't we try this? And also, maybe this thing that's not called diversity yet, we should try that too.
Yeah, right.
And so it was a whole controversial thing. It was like, because people were like, well, that's not chaining them to a desk and making them read Where the Red Fern Grows. That's like, or it's like education should be austere. Which, by the way, same thing with religion. Like we always talk about, it's like they insist on the church pews being things. If there's a cushion on the church pew, oh, you're Unitarian. It's like, well, yeah, but these church pews were state of the art. And a guy talking in front of an altar
in English
was a laser show at a certain point. Stained glass mirror windows were like Pink Floyd concerts. Yep. Anyways, so all I'm saying is, because now we're starting to talk about, I saw a kid at the airport and he was reading a magazine. He was trying to pinch and zoom the magazine and then he threw it away. It's happened.
That really happened?
Yes. Oh, I've heard that story 3 different times.
What? Get out of here.
Yeah, no.
That didn't happen.
Yeah, no. Kids, if you hand them a magazine, they will try to pinch and zoom the fucking magazine.
No, that's...
Yes, a 3-year-old kid.
Kids learn how to use those.
Did not happen.
3 years old.
Oh my God! I've watched, and I sat at breakfast with.
What's his name?
Jeremy Bruckheimer.
I know.
Okay, now I've said too much.
Little Jeremy? Little cute Jeremy Bruckheimer? Oh my gosh. Yeah, I could see that.
But he's one of the bastard Bruckheimers. He goes by Jeremy Snow. He's not officially allowed to be a Bruckheimer. He's just wandering north of the wall.
Pinch and grab a magazine.
I can't believe you find that hard to believe. You try to pinch and zoom a magazine.
No, I didn't.
No, kid. If you give a 3-year-old kid a book or magazine,
okay, let's get one.
They will, of course, because they're growing up on iPads. It's not a big deal. Because, by the way, cutting down a tree and mashing it with chemicals into a pulp that you can turn into a piece of paper and using a Gutenberg press to stamp ink onto it, I'd say that's the iPad of its time. And it's not like people then weren't going like, oh, there goes the neighborhood, about these books. Like we just look at that as like, oh God, these precious books. Who cares if the kids are learning from iPads? But the thing is, somewhere between surrendering to that stuff and it actually being part of our culture is this morass of just chaos where we're like, oh, I wouldn't want to have a kid. I don't know how they're learning. It's like some Jim Henson needs to say, look, kids are learning from iPads, and outside of trying to make $1 by selling some dumb app that's learn to use alphabets. I don't know, we need that passion. So if you're out there and you're living in Miami and you love kids and you own a van, just get into the back of it and start tinkering with something that will help them for a change.
Yeah. You've taken so much so far. Give back.
Silicon Van. I think Silicon Valley's had enough. I think a more mobile Silicon Valley all around the world.
Silicon Van?
Silicon Van.
Tomorrow's Silicon Van is a windowless Valley is a windowless white van driving out of Miami into. Yeah.
I mean, not for nothing. If you put Royland, 3 programmers, and some kind of a driver type guy, and some kind of a wild card that made sure everything was kind of all right, I bet those guys would come out with a hell of a game in 6 months.